You come home after a long day and something feels off. Your dog doesn't rush to the door, doesn't spin in circles, doesn't demand the usual belly rub. He's just there, sitting across the room, glancing at you sideways, then slowly looking away like you don't exist. Maybe you scolded him earlier. Maybe you raised your voice. Maybe you moved his bed or skipped the walk. Whatever it was, the message coming back is crystal clear. I'm not talking to you right now. And here's the thought that crosses every dog owner's mind in that moment. Is he actually mad at me? Most people land on one of two explanations. Either yes, the dog is sulking and giving the silent treatment, or no, dogs don't have feelings like that, so it's nothing. Both of those answers are wrong. And the real explanation, the one that behavioral scientists have been quietly piecing together over the last 2 decades, is far stranger and far more fascinating than either. Because what looks like a dog ignoring you, it might actually be one of the most sophisticated emotional responses in the entire animal kingdom. Researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna ran a series of studies examining how dogs process social conflict with their human companions. What they found disrupted a lot of assumptions. Dogs don't experience conflict the way we used to think. They don't file it away like a grudge, but they don't dismiss it either. The key is in how a dog's brain handles what scientists call social stress and the autonomic nervous system response that follows. At the same time, a landmark study published in Learning and Behavior confirmed something that dog owners had suspected for years, but science had never formally validated. Dogs possess what researchers call emotion contagion, the ability to detect and mirror the emotional states of their human companions with startling accuracy. That's not instinct, that's not tricks. That's something that looks a lot like empathy. When a conflict happens, a scolding, a raised voice, a sharp correction, the dog's amygdala lights up. Just like in humans, the amygdala is the brain's alarm system. It processes threat, it stores emotional memory, and in dogs, it's remarkably sensitive to human facial expressions, vocal tone, and body language. Here's where it gets interesting. After a stressful interaction, the dog's body doesn't just snap back to baseline. Cortisol, the stress hormone, remains elevated. The nervous system stays in a low-grade state of arousal. And one of the behavioral signatures of that arousal is avoidance. The dog creates distance, not to punish, not to manipulate, but because neurologically, proximity to the source of stress feels uncomfortable. This is exactly what happened with Freud on a Tuesday afternoon. Theo had raised his voice during a training session. Nothing dramatic, just a frustrated moment. But afterward, Freud settled into the far corner of the living room, not hiding, just maintaining a careful distance. Every time Theo moved toward him, Freud's gaze shifted slightly away. Not a dramatic gesture, just a few inches of deliberate space. Theo thought he was being given the cold shoulder. What was actually happening was something much more primal. Freud wasn't processing betrayal. He was managing stress. The only way evolution had equipped him to do it. And here's the part that changes everything. Dogs evolved alongside humans for somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years. That's not just coexistence, that's coevolution. During that time, the domestic dog developed something no other species on Earth has, a highly specialized sensitivity to human emotional states. A 2018 study out of the University of Lincoln found that dogs integrate information from both voice and facial expression simultaneously to read human emotions, the same dual-channel processing that human infants use when reading their parents. No other non-human animal has been shown to do this spontaneously. What that means is devastating in the best possible way. When your dog looks away after a conflict, he isn't ignoring your emotional state, he is reacting to it. He can read the residual tension in your posture. He can hear it in your breathing. He can smell it. Cortisol has a detectable scent, and dogs process odor with a brain area 40 times larger, proportionally, than ours. The dog isn't cold, he's overwhelmed, and this is where the science stops being just science. The reason dogs develop this level of sensitivity to human emotion isn't accidental. It's the product of millennia of selection pressure. The dogs who could read human moods, who knew when to approach, when to give space, when to offer comfort, those were the dogs who survived, who were fed, who were trusted. Your dog's ability to sense your emotional state isn't a trick. It's the entire foundation of the human-dog bond. So when he pulls away after a conflict, what he's actually doing is something close to what a perceptive person does after an argument. Reading the room, recalibrating, waiting for the atmosphere to shift before moving back in. He's not holding a grudge. He's holding space. Once you understand this, you'll start to notice things you missed before. Watch how quickly your dog returns to you once your body language relaxes. Not when you call him, not when you offer a treat. But the moment your shoulders drop, your voice softens, your breathing slows. He's already moving toward you. Because the threat signal is gone. Dogs don't need an apology in words, they need one in physiology. A calm, open posture, a slow blink, a quiet voice, sitting down at floor level rather than looming over them. These aren't just kindnesses. They're the precise signals your dog's nervous system is scanning for to determine that it's safe to reconnect. Theo figured this out without realizing it. He sat on the floor, said nothing, and just breathed. Within 4 minutes, Freud had crossed the room and laid his head across Theo's knee. No drama, no negotiation, just biology doing what it does best. There's something quietly extraordinary about sharing your life with an animal that can read your emotional state more accurately than most people can. Your dog doesn't need you to be perfect, he doesn't keep score. What he needs, what he's always needed, is to feel safe in your presence. And when that safety is temporarily disrupted, he does exactly what his ancient wiring tells him to do. He waits, he watches, and the moment the storm passes, he comes back. Every single time. That's not stubbornness, that's not manipulation. That's a species that chose to trust us and never really stopped. Has your dog ever given you the silent treatment after a rough moment? Did he come back on his own? Or did you have to make the first move? Drop it in the comments. Every story is different, and honestly, every story tells you something about your dog that a behavior chart never could. And if you want to keep going deeper into what your pet is actually thinking, subscribe. We're just getting started.